Hi everybody, this is Shane R. Monroe with Monroe World, and today we're going to be looking at the Willybach HD texture pack for Valheim. And so to do that, of course, it's probably best if we compare the original textures to the new ones. Here we are at the title screen. This, of course, is the original textures, and we'll note that at the bottom right. You can see the standard chunky pixel look that we've all known to come and mostly love about Valheim. And it's not that it doesn't look good, it's just unusual looking. Now let's go to Willybach texture pack and check out the title screen again. As you can tell, it definitely loads longer now. It takes longer to load, and that makes sense having bigger textures, more textures to load. All right, so now we're in the HD pack, and yeah, let's take a look at that. Look at the ground, look at the foliage, look at the rock. Everything looks great. It does. It's definitely a dramatic improvement. But let's go ahead and get started comparing different biomes and whatnot. We'll start off running around my house. As you can see, here's the original textures. Look around the room a little bit. You can see, look at my cloak, look at the chest, look at the walls. This was sort of part of the initial charm of Valheim, was this sort of blocky look, which sort of belied the game when you see the ocean and some of the other elements that look extraordinarily good, but then you see things that are notably chunky. Like look at my arm right there, for example. It's very, very pixelated, very chunky. And sometimes that chunky pixel look sort of ruins some of the edges and the transitioning between textures. Now let's take a look at the high definition Willybach pack. And you can see, wow, look at this. The whole room now sort of looks alive. Now, I know the lighting's a little bit different, and it's really hard in this game to reset the timer unless you're sleeping between every take. But you can see looking around here that everything has a much richer feel to it. I mean, look at the chests. The chests look like brand new. They've got very silvery glinting rings, and if you look at the support beam here, I'm going to try to get it into play here. There you can see nails. You can actually see nails on the textures. How cool is that? But yeah, I mean, you can tell that it looks great. Now let's go outside and take a look at what the plains look like. I'm right here on the plains in the border of the Black Forest and some meadows actually. We'll flip back to the original textures and run around a little bit. Show you the outside. Look at the roof of the houses. Look at those, the graphics of the edges where I've built up my encampment here on the edges. Let's take a look at the beehive, the kiln, the smelters, the windmill. Yeah, I mean, this is Valheim that you're used to love, you know and love. Now let's flip over. Again, it's darker outside, my apologies, but take a look, the ground. Look at how the transition between the walls and the ground themselves are. Take a look here at the beehives and the smelter and the kiln. Everything just, I mean, even that. Look at the engravings on the side like that. It's amazing. And those hard edges along the walls here are clean and better transition. Now back to reality here. We're going to run around and look at my cultivated field, my North 40, if you will. And you can see the plains again. We'll take another good look over here. Just a quick run through. A lot of people maybe haven't seen the plains yet because it's one of the later biomes. But I wanted you to kind of see, you know, how the transitions are between the biomes. Now let's go over here with the Willybach HD pack and look at the ground. Look at the cultivated ground. It looks, you can almost taste the dirt, right? And then look at the building over there, the stone building, and even the plains themselves. The colors are almost a little too bright and they sort of stand out a little bit more, and it doesn't help with pop-in. Back to the original textures, we're going to do a quick run over here. Look at those mushrooms in the original textures. There's a burial chamber over there, entrance. And of course, in the Black Forest, we have numerous trees, thick trees. And you can see the rock, the other various foliages in here. And yeah, I mean, again, this is what you've been playing, but it's worth to have it in front of you real quick for a comparison. when we flip over to the high definition textures that Willybach has provided. Now here we are. Look at how the stumps and the rocks sort of stand out. They've got a definition to them. Look at these mushrooms with the little textured dots on them. They look fantastic. And then we have, look at the burial chambers there. All the trees look great. Look at the rock. Look at the new rock formation stuff. That looks awesome. And of course, the bark on the trees. Look at this. Beautiful. The bark looks fantastic. And the new larger rock formations look good. I like the little plants with the little red flowers on them. There's a new large rock. There's always somebody behind you in this game. You notice that? There's always somebody behind you. As mentioned in his description, the animals haven't been done yet. So obviously they still retain the same sort of look and feel. The ocean and mountain biomes aren't done either, according to the description of the mod texture pack. And so we're going to look at them anyway. As you can see, a lot of the items, all these items here in the original textures, we're going to show them to you in the new mod pack. You're not going to see a lot of variation here, probably because he hasn't had a chance to work on them yet. But I thought you'd kind of want to take a peek. All right, and now we'll flip over to the high def textures. And as you can see, I think they look a little bit better here only because of this darkness in the scene. It almost lends itself to sort of an HDR look, and it's just a trick of the light. It really has nothing, I don't think, to do with the texture packs. Not that I'm complaining, mind you, because the rest of it looks great. All right, so let's go over to the Meadows. Now I'm going to only do this one transition through the portal, just because I want to show you that the transition on the HD pack is kind of broken. Here's my old original Meadows camp, and you can see it's largely abandoned, but you get a lot of stone structure here and a large, wide open field here for Meadows. And we'll walk around real quick. You can look at the stone wall to my left. Take a look at the stumps, the rocks, the foliage. Even a busy guy chopping stuff down. Wait till you see my Black Forest fortress. Of course, the water always looks great. It doesn't matter what the texture pack looks like. But yeah, I mean, the Meadows are not unpleasant in the chunky pixel format, but things like the walls and stuff take a hit. All right, now we're going to go back through again with the high def pack, and you can see, yeah, something went wrong here. Not sure what's going on with that, but now that we've loaded, now we get to see all those new textures applied. Look at that. Look at the stonework. Look at the etched blocks within the stonework. I like that a lot. Some people might not like that. I like the definitive block look. See, the ground and the grass looks amazing. And let's zoom in a little bit on the grass, because a lot of times you see the grass up in front of the camera as you're running around, depending on your camera point of view. And as you can see, the textured look, the higher definition textures look great. Again, the stumps and the rocks, everything just has a pop to it that it didn't have before. And the stone wall there to the left, again, you can kind of see how it's been etched out into block type format. I like that a lot. I think that looks great. Let's run around here to complete the tour. Lighting didn't work out in our favor on that one, but that's the problem with this game. All right, now we're going to go take a look at the swamp. And again, we're back to the original textures now. I have a rather large lead in here to the swamp. I was hoping it would get lighter sooner. So I vamp a little bit running around the dark forest, or the black forest rather, in the dark, or in dawn in this case. And you can see with the fog and night that the pixel type textures really aren't a big deal. Now I know a lot of my friends do not play this game at night. They go to bed as soon as it gets dark, and I'm one of those weird people that come from the forest background, where whether it's daytime or nighttime, you're burning difficulty level every single day that passes in the forest, for example. It gets harder, so I like to work at night too. See, look at the glint of the copper here. I love that glint. I think that glint was one of the first sort of ooh, ah moments when I first found my first ore in this game. And it looks really cool and it stands out and it's got a really unique factor to it. Unfortunately, with the high definition texture pack, it's lost, and you'll see that in just a minute. I mean, the swamp's always dark and wet and muggy, so it didn't really matter what time of day I came wandering in here. But you can see, listen, it's the swamp. It doesn't necessarily need to look great because it's all dark and you're usually fighting for your life when you're in here. But you can see, look at the tree bark and whatnot. Everything's got a shine to it in here because it's always wet. And I think that really helps sort of mask the blocky or pixelated, chunky pixel textures. And as you can see, we transitioned into the meadows from the swamp. Now we're in the high definition texture pack, and of course it looks great. I love the way the rocks look. But take a look over there. Take a look here at the copper. What we have here are like little, I don't know, they're like cracks, and that's what differentiates that from the rock. There's no glinting or shining, and I really miss that. That's one of my bigger complaints about the texture pack is the changing of that ore like that. And I haven't had an opportunity to look at silver really, so I don't know what that looks like in the texture pack yet. But look at this. Look at the trees. Look at the bark. I mean, if anything's going to make the swamp look more inviting, I guess it's better textures. As we run around, you can see everything is a good notch up here, and it looks great. Even the shiny stuff looks obviously it still looks great. There's always a guy behind you. What'd I say? There's always a guy behind you. Like Call of Duty zombies, there always seems to be a zombie behind you if you stop moving for a moment. Yeah, it looks good. And I do feel that the transition from the swamp to the meadows is a little bit better now. I think most of the, in fact, most of the transitions look better here. Although the mountain one doesn't really work out, but then again, it's not finished. Let's take a look at the mountain one anyway. Here we are with the original textures going up the mountain. And, I always forget to get my weapon back on when I'm changing. All right, there we go. So if you take a look here, there's a transition of meadow to sort of a mismatched textures here with the frost and the varying degree of rock. See, there's rock and then there's thinner sort of rock. And as you're going up, feels like a logical transition. I am leaving the comfort of the meadows. It's starting to get colder now. This is not going to be good. There's more snow on the ground. You can see up ahead the mountains have this sort of a rich, multi-layered texture look to it. Some of it looks more dense, some of it looks less dense, and it actually kind of works here. And of course, the snow doesn't really take a hit. The snow still looks good. I feel like I'm running around. My feet get cold just playing this game. But yeah, so I mean, I've always thought that the mountain looked pretty good, even with the chunky pixels. But look, the trees take a nice solid hit here with the chunky pixels. The bark on the tree looks very, it's blocky. Not that it's necessarily bad, just different. And we're going to go ahead and walk that transition again. Lots of snow, a little bit less snow, lots of rock, more rock, a little less snow, a little more frost, and then we sort of transition into the Meadows biome. Now let's take a look at it with Willybach's HDs. Now again, he says clearly in the description for the mod that the mountains are not done. And so what we have here is, I'll put bone mass on just in case I get jumped by like 4 wolves at once. I am not particularly well suited with stamina and food here to handle that. But take a look. Gone is the transition of the frost the rock, the multi-layered type rock textures. It's void. It's like dirt and snow, right? Okay, finally we get a chance to see a little bit of snow here, but look ahead at the mountains. You know, the mountains are supposed to be this cruel, unforgiving place, and it kind of now looks like dirt. Dirt, and essentially maybe almost like a desert with snow on it. I don't know. It's too bad. You know, you really get into it when you see how great the Black Forest looks and how great the meadows look. And then you come up here and it's like, put it back. But yeah, so it's, yeah, see the trees still have the pixelated thing, and oh, there's a wolf up there. I was surprised we didn't get one the first time I came up here. But, you know, what the heck. Down, boy, down. Bad dog. All right, we've probably had enough fun up here. There's usually another wolf up here somewhere. When there's one, there's another, but in this case, I guess not. All right. Well, that's enough fun in the mountains. We still have some other stuff to look at, so we'll show you the transition down, or sort of lack thereof. I'll be very excited to see what that texture pack looks like once we've seen the mountains added proper to it. You know, those guys are a pain in the butt to kill until you're not actually hunting them, and then they run right in front of you. All right, here's my Black Forest fortress. I have a lot of my more advanced machinery here. This was built off of a large stone structure. And of course, like good trailer trash, I just threw wood paneling on top of it. That's not to disparage anybody who lives in a trailer. I'm just using a vernacular here. And you can see the chunkiness here. I used to live in a trailer park. Now that I think about it, I know all about it. That's how I knew what to do with this place. Let's go outside for a minute. So with this Black Forest, if you follow me on Twitter or you've seen some of my other videos, you probably know that I'm trying to turn the Black Forest outside here into a parking lot. After all, it's a lot easier to defend if you can always see them coming, right? So I spent a great deal of time, many hours, just chopping down every possible tree, and half this peninsula is cut down, which means there's loose wood, loose logs. Everything is sort of out of place here, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to test this with the HD textures, just to see if it would cause a performance problem once I've increased the textures and I have all this loose stuff floating around in here. Here's an entrance down below to the burial chambers. But before we go down there, let's take a look here. Look at that. You know, you miss those high definition textures pretty quick, very shortly after you stop having them. Look at this place. It looks great. The bellows even looks great. Everything looks great. The walls look great. Look at those chests. It's beautiful. The windmill looks great. Yes. Look at the walls. I mean, check it out. It really pops. And I understand what the creators of Valheim were doing with that sort of disparate look, trying to give it a unique visual. But let's be honest, the game is so great, who cares? I mean, from a unique visual point of view, it's such a good game. You don't really need that as a bullet point or as a gimmick. You don't need it. But you need something like this. And look how great it looks out here. I mean, for the pre-parking lot condition that it's in, of course. But it still looks great. You can definitely see the pop-ins a little bit more here. That seems to be across the board with these textures. And I don't know if it's just because my eye isn't used to them, where I've gotten used to the lower definition texture pop-in. Let's go down below with the original textures. We're not going to spend a ton of time down here because it's dark, and quite frankly, there's not a ton to see. I've already cleared this place out, so there's not much to see anyway. A little bit of fire. Oh, chunky fire. You can see the chunky walls. Chunky doors. A little harder to see the doors. But if we run around here, we'll look at the walls. Look at the mushrooms. The mushrooms are plain. They don't look like real mushrooms. Yeah, glowing yellow mushrooms don't look real. What do you want? Because everybody knows what a glowing yellow mushroom actually looks like. Now we'll go down below with Willybach's texture pack. And yes, the walls look better. Not amazing. I mean, it's not like ooh, look at those walls. Ooh, fire looks a little better though. But maybe it's just the walls behind it that look better. The doors look better. Look at the mushrooms. The mushrooms now have some texture to them. They look more like real fantasy mushrooms. All right. So we'll just walk around a little bit, go find those skeletal remains, and then we'll head back. There they are. All right, well, that's enough of in here. Now let's go take a look at our good friend, the troll. Yes, the troll, everybody's favorite, everyone's favorite love-to-hate guy. And there he is in his low, chunky pixel glory. I'm not going to spend a ton of time. You can pause it if you'd like to just sort of see what he looks like close up. And it's wet outside. I have no stamina. But now let's go take a look at him with the Willybach HD textures. I'm going to get that sun out of our eyes so you can get a good look at him. And I'll take him down melee style so he's nice up close and personal. Normally I just pepper him with arrows, but you know, we got a porcupine, we might as well put it to good use. Although I have like 0 stamina, I'm not used to running around. Take a look at him. Look at that guy. And I don't know, he said that the monsters weren't done, but maybe he did the troll, because the troll definitely looks better. I mean, the skin almost has like a lizard quality to it, which, look at that. That looks really good. I mean, I don't know if trolls have lizard skin, but it definitely looks that way, and it makes more sense why you would have hide armor made out of it. But let's take this guy down. Looks good, though. It looks good. And again, the lighting sort of gives that sort of HD look, HDR look, rather. All right, you can take a look at the textures down there. Looks nice. All right. All right, let's head back inside here. Just one more trip through the back door, showing you the original textures. Looks fine. All right. And then we'll go through the back door with the high definition textures at night. Really get to see some of that glint on the chest back there when I walked by. It looks good. I really can't wait to see this thing finished. I'll probably stick with using it. I like it. I think it looks great. I don't spend much time in the mountains anymore. It's mostly on the plains. But I hope you enjoyed it. Please like the video, subscribe, and check that little bell, get notifications of other great videos coming up. My apologies to Willybach for the original confusion with the Cocoa Pack. We'll look at that next time. This is Shane R. Monroe. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.